Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Anthony Kraus, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from Viva Gold. Please note, you can submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Jim Hesketh, President and Chief Executive Officer of Viva Gold Corp, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol VAUCF and on the TSX under the symbol VAU. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you, Anthony. It's a pleasure being here. Today we're going to talk about Viva Gold Corp and the current status of our Tonopah Gold Project in Nevada. Let me advance the slides here a little. We have our cautionary notes. Read these at your leisure. So Viva Gold, our principal goal for our project, it's the Tonopah Gold Project located near Tonopah, Nevada. And we're advancing this project, and what we anticipate creating here is an open pit heap leach mine with production of between 50 to 75,000 ounces of gold a year. To put that in context, that is a project that would have gross revenues of over $100 million a year in today's market. And that is a fine start to a business. And that's really our focus, is building a mining business. So near-term catalysts, we're currently starting a drill program. We put out a release this morning to that regard. We've also got a lot of drill holes that have been that we've drilled over the last several years that we're adding to our resource base. So on the back of this current drilling program, we will be generating a new preliminary economic analysis and using that study to frame out the outline of a pre-feasibility study, which we hope to move into next year. So let's move on here. Key fundamentals for our project. It's located on the Walker Lane Gold Trend in western Nevada. This is truly mining country. We do have mines surrounding us. We're only a half hour's drive from the Kinross's Round Mountain mine. That's good, for instance. That's a mine that's produced over 15 million ounces in its history. We've got decent measured and indicated resource with substantial exploration upside. And one of the unique aspects of this project is the presence of a high-grade starter pit. That creates low-risk startup and rapid capital payback. We did complete a PEA in 2022 with solid economics. It was done at $1,400 gold versus today's price of over $2,600. We've got a really strong shareholder base, experienced management team, and some realistic timelines. And most importantly, this is in Nevada. It's a mining-friendly state. So the capital structure right now, we have a series of principal shareholders led with Dundee. They own just under 20%. RAB Capital out of the UK at 16.5%. Pointillist, they typically co-invest with Dundee at 8.7%. And Myrmikan Capital out of Connecticut with 9.5%. So we have a very strong institutional shareholder base, which is unusual for a company of our size. These groups have all done their own due diligence and have determined that we're a company to invest in. The key location of the project is in the Blue Star. That's the Tonopah Gold Project. Exactly a half hour's drive south of Kinross's Round Mountain mine. And we're just north of Centerra's Goldfield District project, and that is just north of the Anglo Gold projects. One of the key aspects and some comps in the neighborhood, Centerra acquired the Goldfield District in 2022 for about $177 per resource ounce. The project was fully permitted and ready for construction. Anglo Gold acquired Core Sterling and Secret Pass assets for about $165 an ounce. And they also acquired Corvus Gold for about $170 an ounce. Both of those projects were past feasibility studies. Sterling, the old Sterling mine had full permits. So the comps here for a fully permitted mine ready to go in Nevada are pretty well portrayed. Just south of that is the Reward project. It's a small project, about 320,000 ounces, but fully permitted for construction. That was $100 an ounce. So what you've got is comps between $100 and $170 an ounce for permitted projects with feasibility studies. And that's really our goal with Viva. That would be a 5 to 10 time multiple over where we're currently trading on a per ounce basis. We're trading at about $20 to $30 an ounce right now. So what we see is a lot of upside by completing the hard work of feasibility study and permitting. And that's really our goal here. So the team, unusual for a company of our size, Chris Harold, our chairman, he was former director of the Denver Gold Group for about 12 years. Very savvy geologist, has run a cash flow positive exploration company for a number of years. Myself, by background, I'm a mining engineer and mineral economist. I've put a number of mines into production in my career, and that's my sweet spot in this industry, is to take exploration properties and move them to the next step. That's feasibility, permitting, and possibly construction, possibly sale of the asset. Andy Boland, he was formerly director of operations for Barrick North America. In that role, all of the mines and plants answered to Andy. So he's a very senior operator with that sort of focus. David Whittle, a very strong background in junior company CFO, CEO roles. And right now he's on a number of boards, but a very strong advisor, good strength in the marketplace. Ted Mahoney, he was former chief geologist at Kinross's Round Mountain Mine and former business development manager for Barrick North America. So Ted brings a lot of local geologic knowledge to the table. He's a key player in our company. Adrian Goldstone, I first worked with Adrian in the 1990s on a Russian gold project. But Adrian is the technical director for our largest shareholder, Dundee Corporation. So they're represented on our board. Moving on, we've consistently grown our gold resource. We have not put out a new resource since January of 2022. Since that time, we've drilled over 50 additional drill holes in this project, and we're currently kicking off a program, actually starting today, for another 15 to 20 holes. So when we recreate our resource again, it'll be on the basis of a much larger database of information. Even with that said, back in 2022, 2/3 of our resource was measured and indicated. The cores of this deposit, or two of the cores, were drilled completely to measured level by a predecessor of ours. So looking at the project here, oh, these slides got a little bit out of order. Geology, very simple. We've got a tertiary volcanic, that's a TVL, overlaying a old Ordovician argillite. And the age difference between them, the argillite's about 350, 400 million years old. The tertiary volcanics are 18 to 25 million years old. In between the two, there's a discontinuity. And that discontinuity is primarily where the gold resides. The solutions came up from the earth, hit this contact, spread out laterally, and made a deposit. The mineralization comes to within 10 meters of surface. And so it's a ideal structure for an open pit mining operation. Looking at a cross section across the discovery zone of this deposit, you can see that in the red, that's plus 1 gram material. That comes to within 10 meters. And that's essentially where our starter pit would originate for the mine. The yellow outline shows a 1650 resource pit from the 2022 study. And this study, the first 2.5 years of mining was 2.4 million tons at about 1.4 grams per ton, with a low initial strip ratio. So that is where the project started. And essentially this single high grade core drove payback on the project in that PEA study. So that's been part of our goal, is to develop rapid payback project, low capital risk, that we can move forward on quite quickly. So over the last couple years, we've been doing a lot of drilling on the eastern side of this deposit. And what I'm showing here is some drill holes. These were completed in May of this year. And you have some pretty spectacular intercepts, including 90 meters at 2 grams, 18.3 meters at 4.4, 25 meters at 6.4, all of it quite shallow, less than 100 meters deep. And really, that's been the hallmark of this project. You see both high and low grades. You've got high-grade zones of veins and breccias surrounded by low-grade disseminated material and close to surface, which creates an ideal structure for open pit mining. So let me move on here. So we've done we see additional upside here. Part of our current program will be targeting these target zones. And what you're looking at, it's a complex slide, so I'll go over it very quickly, but this is geophysical CSAMT, and we see resistivity highs in the dark purple, going to lighter colors. And the mineralization on this deposit is very well defined within these resistivity envelopes. And we're using that for our drill hole targeting, as well as exploration. And so this next program we're about to start will include a number of exploration holes, very wide step outs, as well as infill drilling in the main pit zone, where we still have some substantial gaps that need to be filled. So keep an eye on our results over the next couple months, because that'll be our news pipeline, is the new drilling. The PEA results from back in, let me go back again. before I move on to PEA results, we did complete a number of rounds of test work. Test work on this project has been completed by Kennecott Minerals, who made the original discovery, Newmont Gold, Midway Gold, and Viva ourselves. And what we've determined from it is that we've got amenability to gold recovery on this project through gravity and flotation, as well as through cyanide leach processing methods. The very high-grade materials are amenable to recovery through gravity. Flotation captures low-grade microfine free gold, and cyanide leach will capture all of it. So we are looking at an open pit heap leach, but we've also done work on heap leach plus mill. And what we've determined is that on a heap leach, we can recover 68 to 71% gold recovery on crushed rock. Now, if we do a fine grind to 200 mesh on our higher grade material, that's greater than 1 gram, we can see 92 to 94% recovery. So there is several options open to us for the high grade material. Number one, we've got 2 local gold mills within a 30-mile radius of this site. So there's potentially a toll milling option. Alternatively, we could put an on-site mill circuit, but the trade-off study on that would be that you get 20% higher gold recovery by not heap leaching and going to a gold mill. So that's part of our trade-off studies as we are looking forward. Really, that's a capital for additional revenue trade-off. So that's one thing we'll be looking at. Lots of optionality here. On the PEA, when we completed that, this was in January of 2022. It was really 2021 data. What we saw from this is a positive study. At the time, it was a small project, a 6-year life. Today, we'd probably be looking at an 8 to 10-year life. And it had very nice returns with a lot of sensitivity to gold price. Higher gold prices really improve the returns on this project. So that's key. So moving on from that, what we've been doing on the environmental front for this project is we've been doing a lot of baseline study work. One of the key aspects for permitting in the U.S. is that you have to have your baseline study work substantially complete when you move into the process. For instance, our geochemical rock characterization studies, the ore and waste material, took 86 weeks to complete. These are not insubstantial tests. They take a long time to do. And a lot of people come into the U.S. and decide, well, I've got a feasibility now, I can start permitting. Well, at that point, you're years behind the curve. So we've been doing this work simultaneously. We've had our meetings with the BLM. Our biologic studies are substantially complete. No red flag issues. We've been doing quarterly water sampling for over 4 years. Geochemical tests. We've been updating archaeologic test work. So a lot of work's been completed on this project to move it forward for feasibility study and permitting. Now let's take a look at the infrastructure on this project. This is one of the things that sets this company aside. Location is phenomenal. The road in the background in the picture is the road going to the right-hand side that goes to the Round Mountain mine. That is a state highway. So we've got paved road access directly to the site. The road coming into the picture, we'll have to relocate it. It's a county chip seal road. There is a sign at the turnoff that says next gas 142 miles. It's pretty lightly traveled. And what we have up the road a few miles is a well field belonging to Tonopah Public Utilities. That's a commercial water utility that belongs to the town of Tonopah. And they've got a water pipeline that actually crosses the eastern boundary of our claims. And that pipeline, we can tap into that. The town's got substantial excess water rights, and that would be our source of water. So basically about a 3-kilometer tie-in. Following that pipeline is a 15 kilovolt power line belonging to Nevada Energy. We can upgrade that pipeline power line under existing permits. Again, a very close tie-in. And then on the permitting front, we've talked about this, but we've been updating the cultural resource studies that Newmont completed in 2003. They also did an environmental assessment back then. And we've been the beneficiary of all of that data. So what are we looking at this year? We're completing the drill program, 15 to 20 holes. We're updating the resource model. We're already loading in all of the 50 historic holes, and we'll be waiting for the new information from the drilling program to complete the resource study. The baseline studies are underway, and this slide needed updating, but the planned completion for the PEA will now be about first quarter. We've got quite a bit of the work already done and are ready to move rapidly on that. So what's the investment thesis for shareholders on Viva Gold? Well, we've created value by adding gold ounces and de-risking the project for ultimate mine development. It's in a location where this project will be either a satellite project or a center starting point for either ourselves or a third party. But that's really our focus, is increasing gold resources, de-risking, advancing the project to PFS and feasibility study, and completing the permitting process. So and that should create a share price re-rating for Viva. And that's our value prospect here. So let's look at our questions. First one is, when will your project be permitted and in production? The permitting process is approximately, once we initiate the EIS process, that's about a 1-year timeline for a project this size. To get there, we have to complete the feasibility work. From that, you create a plan of operations. You submit that plan of operations to the BLM, and provided that your baseline study work is complete, they would initiate the EIS process. So that could put us into a position where we can start moving into a construction decision on this project sometime late 2026. Let's see, next question is, what are your all-in sustaining costs, and are you seeing cost inflation keeping up with gold prices? Anecdotally, our cost of drilling in earlier this year was 20% lower than prior year. And part of what we've seen is some cost reductions, and that is due to the supply chain globally as well as locally has settled down. A lot of the very high pricing that we saw in 2021-22 has pulled back. So we've seen some retrenchment on the inflation side, while the price of gold has really soared. So there is a unique, from an economist position, would call it a unique resource rent environment right now. An ounce of gold in production can get an extraordinarily high level of profit that we haven't seen in years. So there's opportunities if you can move rapidly towards a productive state in this market today. Let's see, another question here. Can you discuss capital position and needs over the next 2 months? Well, we currently have about 2 million Canadian in the bank. We did close the financing in August. That'll cover that covered claim fees. It'll cover this drilling program and help us to cover the PEA through completion. So that's currently where we sit. Early next year, sometime or late this year, we should probably do another equity financing. So do we have any additional questions here? No? Well, I'll just go with a closing statement then. So Viva Gold, our goal here is to create value for our shareholders. And we do that through de-risking our project and moving it into feasibility study, move it through permitting. The project location is second to none. It's probably the best place in the world to build a mine today. We've got infrastructure, paved road, water, power. We also are in close proximity to major mining supply centers, Las Vegas, Reno, Bakersfield. We've got a local supply chain that can develop entire mines, and we've got a pool of talent in the state of Nevada to draw on. So that is really the key for Viva Gold. We're building a project here that I believe will be attractive to other parties, as well as attractive for development. And in my background, I've built 8 mines in my career, and I'd certainly like to end my career with a number 9. So that's the options available for us today at Viva Gold. Thank you.